We are live? Okay, wonderful.
We're live.
Jesse, welcome, welcome. I have been waiting for
Thank
this
you.
for a long time, and I'm so glad that you could make it finally, and we are here.
It's exciting, man. I've been waiting for this one. Let's get this thing going.
Thank you, thank you. So I will do a quick sort of intro to what we are doing here, and and I'll of course give a brief introduction to you because it's difficult to give your introduction, Jesse. See, I'm a media man all my life. Okay, I have done literally thousands of interviews, but very difficult to introduce you. It's a challenge.
Oh, come on, man. It's not that bad.
Okay, so yeah, but let me quickly sort of start with what we are trying to do here. Uh, when you talk to any sales organization, we we figure that people have challenges identifying leads, even if they have defined their ICP. Finding those people is a challenge, and there are many layers to that problem, and we'll not sort of try to dissect everything. But the fact is that your ability to communicate, touch with them, qualify them, converse with them become key to your success in selling. And uh, and uh, I before I give the introduction uh, to Jesse, our expert guest today, I'm so grateful that you are here. I want to quickly share my screen to show you how you can participate. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome to to participate, to share. That's the whole idea. Uh, we want this to be a slightly different kind of uh, webinar. I'm still trying to figure out a better word, but the idea is that while we have experts like Jesse come and talk about what he's seeing, he is in a very important vantage point. He's seeing a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not only technology; he's actually seeing things happening. So I am hoping that he'll share some of that with us. But the other part is that we want all of us have experiences. We are trying things. We are succeeding in some, and we are not succeeding in some. These are typically discussions we all do in our WhatsApp groups. My idea of this webinar series is to bring those WhatsApp groups live. That's the idea. So obviously, I mean, it will take time to us to get there, time for us to get there. But that's the idea, and we want to see that this becomes like a weekly space where we can all come and share. Of course, we'll have experts like Jesse because that's important, because we all have to learn. But at the same time, we are all doing stuff where we are learning and so on. I'm sharing my screen where you can see how you can participate. Basically, as you join in, you can you will see this button called grab the mic, and if you click on that, your request will come up. Either me or Jesse or Pradeep, who is in the back end, we will sort of you will see something like this. Do whatever is necessary in terms of giving permission, and then you are in. And when you are done, you can just use this other button, which is like a cross through the mic, to drop off. So it's pretty simple, nothing very complicated, but that's how it is, and that's all that is from me at this point. So I will introduce Jesse. As I said, it's a difficult thing, and he's. I mean, Jesse, you are very reticent, right? I mean, you don't like to talk about yourself, and I find this very endearing because very few people don't use opportunities to talk about themselves. So that's also something which I really admire about you. Uh, Jesse is the founder of Lead Magic. You can go and check out his. I'll share his LinkedIn link. You can go and check his profile. He has huge amount of experience working across vast areas of the sales and marketing space. He likes to help engineers. So this is what he is. He likes to help engineers, sales and marketing, HR, finance, anyone learned SaaS. He likes to start with a digital product and then morph that into a SaaS. So very, very SaaS centric thoughts. Besides Lead Magic, he is the founder of Lead Gen Expert Community. So you know why I was so excited to have him here. Uh, he's well known as a cold outreach deliverability expert, and he shares his knowledge freely and is one of the most helpful human beings I've come across. If I have time, I'll get Pradeep on, and he was just before we started the session. He was actually thanking Jesse how Jesse helped him to sort out our own email issues
Sorry about that.
quite selflessly. Jesse, thank you so much. I'm delighted to have you here. Please
Yeah,
start.
really great to be here. I think what you're doing is awesome. Getting getting more people involved, getting kind of the masses out there, and let's face it. If you I'm not a great coder, but if you can't code, you got to create content, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the mindset, really. But I think today what I wanted to do is just kind of show. I was going to just do sort of a demo of something really where start to show where I think that the world is going in terms of data, in terms of prospecting, and I'm just going to kind of fly through a few things here, but I'm going to do it on the fly, and you'll see what I mean. Where I think it's happening, starting to change, is we used to hire sort of our youngest generation of sales leaders or new up and coming salespeople, and now we're starting to look at other ways to do that and where you're going to want to be if you're in any of those roles. So what I'm going to show today is just how to build sort of a pipeline fast to get to the right people. So what I'm going to show is sort of a lightning round of more of a hands-on demo here. I'm just going to show sort of a little bit of magic here, if you will, right? So I'm going to show some stuff that you could do with like a Clay run or an Airtable, and I'll kind of show you where if you think about the problem, you used to have to go out, you do a bunch of research, you would find people that you could call, you would do that. There's all these different sort of things that you would do. And then all of a sudden you would kind of realize, hey, I've just wasted an hour doing all this research and you really wouldn't get anything more. So what I'm going to show is kind of a faster way to do things there. And I'm going to show you why I think a lot of this stuff is going to be automated. So here's what I'm going to, so what we're going to do today is what we're going to look at is we're going to take a real world example. We're going to take a look at PitchLink, and if we're thinking about how to find the right people that could buy the product, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to essentially try to find people that could buy it. So when we reach out to people, we want to be relevant. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people reach out to people and they're not relevant. They're going the other route. They're personalizing too much. They're trying to sort of, be sort of like, hey, I'm trying to help you out here, But what we're going to do today is we're going to find people who are relevant. And that's a little bit of a unique skill. And it's starting to come along now where if you can do this, you can really differentiate yourself. So it always starts first with the audience. So we got to think about, and I'm doing this sort of on the fly, cold here. If anybody has any questions, Sarah, we can ask. But if we're thinking about who would buy, right, we would want to think about, okay, so probably teams of people that are growing in their sales org, or they now need communication. They can, we'd probably want to get similar people that have already bought. And the way that we would do that is we would look for sort of, so the type of person. So it looks like it's good there for sales development teams, for enablement teams to kind of hand to their sales team. So we want to find the relevant people. So what's going to be the kind of case here? So let's go out. We're going to go out to a source first. What we're going to do is we're going to find people that are in, because we probably want to stay away from the up market. So we're going to probably go more towards a market where we're looking for people that are maybe just raising, and they're sort of like a SaaS company that's just raising, or sort of that sort of company. So let's take a look here. What we're going to do is we're going to grab a list, and we're going to go for this is just Crunchbase, and what we're going to do is we're going to look for companies that are their funding status. Their last funding status was, let's say, Series A, right? Let's look for like an early stage, right? So we'll do that. So we'll start with that data. This is going to encompass that. If we want to get more granular, we want to go maybe just Series A, we could also have done that with the funding type. That's the other option there. Then what we're going to probably do is we probably want to look and say, okay, do we have any integrations? Is there anything that, let's just say we were thinking about it does, let's say it did integrate.
Jesse, we lost your screen share and the audio as well. So I don't know what's going on. Sorry about that.
Yep, no worries.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you now. Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, my bad there. So what we're going to do now, so we're finding target audience for PitchLink, which is great. So let's find companies, and we're gonna do some. We're gonna play the game here, because you'll get the reward is at the end here. If you wait for anything in life, it usually is good, right? So so we're going to find earlier stage companies, and what we want to do is we want to find ones that have some moments that matter. What I mean by that is, let's find ones that just recently raised, or they've now got a little bit of money to spend. They're probably scaling their sales org, but what we're going to do is let's just take that list. I did not mean to click there, but so we're going to take, there we go. We're going to do a sort here by, we're going to export this list out here. So what this does is we're going to get the first 1,000, right? Just to kind of show the proof of concept here. But what's good now is, we've got a starting point, right? We've got the companies, right? And we don't know much about them, right? Let's just assume we don't know much about them, right? We'll know some of the information, but what's going to be key for us right now is how do we approach this group? Now, we got to be smart, right? There's 350 billion emails that get sent every single day. So we want to make sure that we're going after people in the right way, because it's just going to go to flooding. And even if you do get into the inbox, which has been my thing, is you're going to be in spam. So in their head when they read your email. So it's only so much to get your deliverability right. But then you actually got to get the messaging and the offer right. So what we're going to do today is, while that's pasting in, what we're going to do is we're going to look for companies that have just raised money. So, and then we're going to narrow in really deeply on the actual round that they're in. So let's say we do that. And then what's going to happen is, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go do a couple of searches just to kind of make sure that this is sort of the right group. So we've got, right now we're doing just run a little slow here, but we're going to get, there we go. Okay, so we've now sorted it by the people that have just raised last, which is nice. So we have that list. And then what we're going to do is we're going to I want to just get series. We know a little bit about it. So we're going to go after just Series B for a reason, right? Now, B is when a lot of the times when you're basically getting usually the sales leaders are coming in at the B round, right? Like they might have a head of sales or an A, but this is when you want to start to talk to them, right? And what we're going to also do is we're going to also trim the we're going to trim. I want to trim the domain name. So I just want to make sure we have the domain name. That's always the critical sort of tactic. So we want to get that kind of isolated here. Now we've got that domain name. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to make this reach out very, very, very. Yeah, go ahead if you have any questions.
Jesse, just quickly, we are still seeing the Crunchbase page, right? We are not seeing what you're doing. Oh, okay.
Oh, weird.
Fair enough.
Are you seeing the? Are you seeing the? Oh, you're not. Oh, I see. It's not like. Here, hold on. Let me go back to. Oh, okay. I think I got to do the whole entire screen. That's what I got to do. Sorry about that. So we've now got the list, and we've basically taken the list. So sorry about that. We've got a list, and we've got it on Series B companies. We know when they last raised. We know the name of the company, and we've got enough information to be dangerous now. So we're starting there, and we want to kind of do that. Now, this is what we're going to do next. We also want to grab one other field. Let's grab their LinkedIn, just because I know it'll come up. This is just from doing it a lot. Let's grab these fields, and then what we're going to do is we're going to import them into Clay. So Clay is a tool for sort of doing some stuff here, and we'll talk through why we're doing this. But it's like a spreadsheet that kind of fills itself out. Is what their value prop is when they talk about it. I've been using it for quite a while, but let's just kind of get this data sort of on here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put all the columns here so we can look at the same data. We could also import this in here. There's other ways to do this. Like I just wanted to visually look at it so I knew what I was looking at. And remember, we're doing this on the fly here. So, live demo, right? So, so we got that, and then we could do this. And I want to make sure I got all the fields that I need. Yep, I think we're good. Okay, let's grab that LinkedIn field. Okay, great. Now I'm adding all those columns and all that data. It's going to be dropped in there. Perfect. Now what we have is a spreadsheet that we're looking at this. And to reach out, remember, we're looking for people that are in the Series B round. These are all Series B round. What we're going to find is now we need to go figure out which one of these companies are actually interested, could actually be a target. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to look at, let's get the columns right here. I hate to be sloppy about the data, but this is their last raise. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at, that's their last raise, that's their round. This is their last. Now we'll just remember that, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to actually get that information that we need. So this is our this right here would be our company URL. Okay, now what we want to do now is we want to actually find the right people. Okay, so think about what do we want to find at the company. So I would say, a couple things you could do. You could always do whatever, but like what I think is going to be a good signal for you is sort of going to be who's hiring. What's their what is their let's look at their hiring needs. I think is going to be an interesting one. So they're hiring for, let's find active job opening. We're going to then take the domain name, which is how we're going to find that. We're going to do a search, and we're going to now find companies. We're going to run this on some of these accounts. And what we want to do is we want to find the companies that are actually hiring for a sales role right now. I actually think where we want to go might actually be the sales enablement title. Could be the the type of company that we would want to look at, right? So let's start with the let's try to find people that are hiring on the the sales enablement side. So we'll do so we want to hiring. So we want to do the job. Yep. So we want to find active job opening, and then we want to do the domain, and then we want to find for sales. Okay. So let me pause there. Does that make sense so far? Is there anything that you wasn't clear there? Was that helpful so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm like looking at it very intently. Of
Yeah.
course, I mean,
And you
the
can
way
go
you do
replay
it,
it after too. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way you do it, obviously, it's, I mean, it's you know this inside out, right? So it
Yeah.
still need a re-watching to get the full feel of what you did actually. But yes, I
Yeah.
think it makes sense completely.
Yep. So then what you're going to do is you're going to do that. And remember, we probably want to go companies that over the last 3 months have been growing, right? So this is kind of a key. So then we're going to do that. Now, what we can get now out of this is we're getting a headcount list. Okay. And what we've got here is a job count list. So who would I target if I had a list of these, this, we're just doing sort of a proof of concept here. But if I'm targeting people, I'm going to run it across all these records here. And what you're going to see is you're going to get to see all of the sort of hiring going on at these companies are actually hiring for this sort of role. Now, what we're doing is we're doing that, and we're going to get to see all of the employee headcount situation, which is definitely going to be a key indicator, I think, for a technology like we're talking about. Now, who would we target is the next part of this, but this helps us be more relevant. Now, if you were thinking about this, if you were going to run, sort of a sales development playbook, what I'm seeing a lot on the internet or on LinkedIn, at least, a lot of the gurus will tell you they'll go out there and they'll say, oh yeah, write the emails like this, poke at them there, but none of them are talking about being relevant to the person. And I'm talking about, obviously, you could go do all this research manually, but that would be kind of a waste of time, right? Especially if there's technology out there that could help you do it. So we've got a bunch of great B round companies. They're probably all starting to think about their sales motion. Let's do a filter and let's find the ones that are hiring for the role. So right here, we know that they've got sales jobs open, right? For the ones there. And if we had a bigger list, we could go after a bigger list there, but I'm trying to do more of a sample size. So what we're doing now is we're going to take this list and let's just take, sort of the first job on all of them, just the title, which is this, right? So now you're getting to see that, okay, you can see where all these people are hiring. Okay, they're all hiring something in here. We can call this attention when we're reaching out too. So we can say like, when we're reaching out, we can talk about this position that we're seeing here, and that's big. And then we can see also their employee count changes 3 months ago. That's 3 months ago. That's the growth rate over 3 months right here. So what this will tell you is you've got a percentage here. And now you've got all this data here. And what you can do after this, the immediate next step would be to figure out, okay, are the companies growing? So obviously, if we're thinking about it, the ones that have grown, so if we go to the growth rate over the last 3 months, that would be I want to do a sort. So I would do the growth rate over the last 3 months, percent growth last 3 months, and we want to do it 9 to 0, save it. Now we're going to get a resort here and we can see which company. So we're zeroing in, right? You have finite time in sales and that's your problem. So the ones that are growing the fastest are going to be these companies, right? So you could see, right? Because you could actually see 1 month ago, they're at 67. 3 months ago, they're at 53. So now you've got a pretty good handle on what's going on at these companies. And they're your target audience and they're the group that you could sell to. So now what your job is to find the person that you can go to and then run a campaign. And that's sort of the order of operations. So the next thing you would do is you would want to do a role. You would have to find people. You'd want to find a person that's you want to do the find. Where is it? The role one. Find an enriched person. and we're going to do a we're going to do the in title. So what we're going to do is it's basically the we'll look for the company and in title VP of sales. Let's just say that was our title that we were looking for. And then I might say, let's just make sure this works. And we'll run it on the first 10 rows. Now we're looking for the VP of sales of that company. Hold on, I might not have done that one right, but that was one thing I messed up here. Sorry. We're going to need to do the, there it is. My bad. So what we're going to do is the company identifier. So we want to find the company URL. And then what we want to look for is the title of the job title keywords. So it'd be VP of sales, or we'll just do VP of sales. We'll just make this easy today. Well, I make things so much harder on myself. I always do. But, so we'll have that going. We'll delete this. And now we're, here we go. Just got to make this work out here. So VP of sales, or vice president of sales. There we go. So, we're just kind of, if I had a little more time here, I would have this done. Now, if we had 2,500 people on this list, so this is Jason. So this is actually a good one to look at. So now if we're prospecting, I would say, hey, Jason, I saw you guys were the fastest growing Series B company at this rate of, you have his phone number, you have his email, you can go write as good of a message, you can LinkedIn. But remember what you're doing. You're reaching out with relevance, right? And that right away is going to be totally disarming when you're reaching out. What most people do is they come in and they're personalized. And that's kind of like, okay, very, very sort of bland. And I just put this together and, it was not a thought out thing. Obviously you could tell I was having a couple glitches there, but it wasn't that bad. And then what you can do is you can get these campaigns to be completely ran in automation. Once you make this once, this campaign works forever. And if you think about the possibilities that are here, so, the next thing you can do is we can enrich we could actually enrich the person. So we would grab their profile and then we would find their email and then we would be right on the right path to, so we're going to do that. And then we could find their we'll do their company and all that. And then you could call that stuff out. And now what you've really done is you've changed the game, because your starting point now is, if I'm a founder and I run a SaaS founder and I'm running a company, I can now go after these people and I'm going at them for a reason. And I know they're hiring, he's hiring, the roles he's hiring for. Like, you almost can't screw it up, right? Yeah. So this is the difference between what, you saw what I just did there. That wasn't like dramatically hard. And now when I'm writing that sequence, I can also add GPT into this if I needed to. If I needed to add a prompt, I would avoid it right now unless you're really good at the prompting on GPT-4, probably a little bit of testing, but I would avoid it in terms of, if you're new there. But I think this right here is enough information. Hey, Jason, it looks like you're looking for a growth marketing manager. You know a lot about this organization and you know which types of organizations. And it's also a good idea to go do this on your own customers. So I'll pause there. Why don't I let you go? But does this kind of help understand sort of where you can scale a process like this a little bit faster?
Absolutely. I think I think the challenge for most people is that they are not even looking at the technology and trying to leverage what is out there. And it's partially because of so much of noise out there, right, Jesse?
Totally.
Too many people telling too many things. I mean, if I just take the example of Chat GPT, if you look at LinkedIn, every day there are like 20 posts about what
Yeah.
you can do. So it's
It's,
very confusing
it's
for people who
true.
are not completely oriented towards this, right? That's the challenge. But I think some of the work that you do in the community where I am a part, and I think really understanding this and adapting this into your workflow can literally save, I don't know, hundreds of hours, literally.
Oh yeah.
And I think maybe I will catch you at another time when I will request you to maybe do this in more detail and record it and make it available to the community and so forth. I mean, I think it's really
Absolutely.
worth it because what you showed just now, and you went with. I didn't give you any information about pitch link, so you sort of recalled what you knew already, and you went with that. So and that's producing a lot of very very relevant data right there.
Yep. When you're
I
reaching
will.
out, it's just a whole nother world. I mean, the buyer engagement you're going to get off something like this, especially, so obviously you can go a little bit heavier on like email, but
Hmm.
if you go out as a founder on LinkedIn and you're really targeted here, and even if you're, let's be careful, the police aren't going to jump down here, but even if you go a little bit automated over there,
Yeah.
you're still going to get a really good result here because these people want you to know information about them. They don't
Yeah.
want you reaching out if you don't have the right information, and that's what I always tell people. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. I will take a small pause and I'll see if any of the people who are attending here want to ask you something, because I know you have to leave. Uh,
I got
so
till the top of the hour, so I think I'm good.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So any one of you who are here and have some questions, I will wait for the next 30 seconds for you to raise your hand. I've already shown you how to do that. Click on that mic icon uh, at the bottom left side of your screen, and I can have you in, and you can ask Jesse any questions. So 30 seconds, guys. Otherwise, I will take it and I'll run with it. So while they think about it, so Jesse, basically what you did was you found the list of companies on Crunchbase, exported that, and ported that into Clay. That's what you did, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and from Crunchbase, you decided which columns are relevant. You removed the rest of the columns and then focused on the columns that are relevant, and then
Yep.
sort of enriched that using Clay.
Yep. And what I did as a result was along the way, and like, look, I mean, there's so many ways to do, there's so many other things we could do. We could also take their G2 crowd ratings. We could also
Hmm.
grab, like, I want to grab their G2 crowd ratings of their product, because obviously one of the value props for PitchLink would be you could send the videos to the customers and then they'd say like, oh yeah, I can, do a sort of a testimonial or something like that, give them some more information, ask them for something. So if you do that link or whatever, you'd have that like listing, and you know what their rating is on sort of on G2 crowd, right? Or there's so
Yeah.
many possibilities once you get it organized right.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll
Yeah.
just check. Tom, would you like to come on and ask Jesse anything? Tom dropped out. Vivek Shaw has joined. So guys, we are just taking a small pause here to see if any one of you have any questions. Uh, 30 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Doctor. I'll just ask him. Uh, okay, Jesse, I think guys are feeling very shy this morning, afternoon,
No
wherever they
problem,
are.
man. I know it is it is early, but
I put
there
them on
might
the
be
spot.
others that could be in shock too, right? Like
Yeah,
this is kind of groundbreaking, sort of like
yeah,
if you think about this, I mean, I'd ask you just like personally, like thinking about this, if you had a look, there's other strategies to getting acquiring business, right? You can hire a bunch of people for a certain cost and whatever, and if you think about that, but how long would it take, right? For let's say you had 2,500 companies in here and you figured they were the right ones and you got all the leaders that you needed, how long would it take you, or how long would it take a sales development rep to go outbound to that group of people with that level of relevance that I just produced right there in
yeah.
just a short amount of time? Like, and that's like level one, right? Like
Hmm.
I mean, we're doing stuff that's like 10x more complicated. I mean, I guess that'd be the question: is how long do you think that would take somebody to do that as an untrained salesperson?
It can take literally weeks, if not months,
Yeah.
to get anywhere near, and to do it at scale. I think that's the problem.
Mhm.
I mean, if I have to enrich data about 10 people. Keep aside the fact that I have to use 10 different tools. I mean, I cannot literally do it with one. I
Right.
have to, yeah, right. So I have to go into this or that, whatever. I mean, but the point is that to do any kind of relevant information search, and I've done it. It can take a lot of time to do 10 in a day or 15 in a day, and then do the outreach will be a lot very very efficient day. But this can completely change that. And as I said, I think people need to sort of pay attention to what. So we are so enamored by, oh, chat gpt, put a prompt, it will write a mail. That doesn't matter if you're not reaching the right guy at the right time, right? So this
Yep.
this whole this whole game is about the 3% who are ready. I
Yeah,
mean,
and then I could be a salesperson again, right? If I
exactly.
so this is what you could do all this stuff, you can get wrapped around all this stuff, but if you have like a proven sort of process, and then you're um if you think about like I'm just trying to get I forget the role one there. Okay, there it is. But that's what it needed there. So, I now know, like, I've got VPs of sales. I was just trying to get that right.
Yeah.
And I would be reaching out. I'd say, hey, I saw all of this information leads me to believe we could help you. And
Hmm.
this is why I get annoyed, like when there's certain groups of people that are like, hey, you're just sending a bunch of like spam. Like, this is not spam. This is every one of these emails is 100 customized. There's no,
Hmm.
or LinkedIn or whatever the approach is. There's not, you would never know the difference if you were getting the email. And that's what I try to explain to people, that the more relevant, the more real time, like right now, this data is live, right?
Hmm.
We know with like Mutiny went from 93 employees to 104. And over the last 6 months, they grew
Hmm.
50% over there. And they're hiring senior account executives,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And knowing all that information going in is going to put you in a better spot. And the ones I was looking at were the ones that just raised and they're 3 months in.
Yeah.
That's huge, because the last raise was February 22nd. You could call that out. You say, you're obviously they saw that, but remember, everybody wants to talk to people who just raise money. It's not going
Hmm.
to get you into the end zone, though. Where you want to go is you want to go to the people that, and then you call out a few things. I saw your hiring. I saw these facts. And by the way, use the percentages, use the numbers, prove to this person that you actually took the time to do the things you need to do to be successful now. And that's it. And then, now you've got their G2 crowd, you got all this other great information. Then it's just about sending the data and, using a system that can actually handle the deliverability. We use Smart Lead,
Hmm.
and then we'll just add here and we'll push it out to the buyer. And we just add leads to our campaigns all day long. We click a couple buttons and we go and come back and there's 5 meetings on the calendar, right? it's not
Right.
rocket science,
Yeah.
but it does work, you know?
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah. I think that's great. That's a great session. I think this has been one of the most educative sessions that we have had till now, and I would really like to explore with you offline how we can literally do a like a day long
Mm-hmm.
session where people can come sign up, and learn how to do
Totally.
this on
Yep.
their
And it can be
actually.
done. Like it's not the tool either. Like I can do the same. What I just showed you there, I can
Hmm,
do that in Clay.
hmm,
I could do that in Google Sheets, and I could do that in Airtable without a single problem. And it would take
yeah.
me. I could have that campaign launched in less than a half hour, and run it and not even touch it, hands
Hmm,
off. I could have. I mean, the only thing that might take me a little more time would be to get that copy just perfect. But I would have
right.
every email validated. I would have that response rate would be very high because it's very relevant. And I didn't
Yeah.
spend a whole lot of time researching it. And, it's completely contradictory to what the gurus will tell you out there. They'll tell
Yeah.
you that it takes too long and you're wasting your time. Just pick up the phone and make the dials.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That 30 minutes seemed pretty valuable to me.
Yeah.
I can't,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. And as you know, I mean, see, there is this whole I mean, Jesse, I think the fact is that people are getting too many irrelevant mails. There is
it's so
no
true.
getting away from that, right? and
Yep. And
and
that's
that's
why
sort
when you
of,
put that, yeah, exactly.
so that's a problem. So even if you're doing something very very relevant, there's a very high possibility you may still get lost because of the list of the junk that is getting in there.
Yep.
It's a mindset problem, and a bit of what I talk about my session, I mean, is that you need to understand that people have a mindset, and we need to lead with value. If you don't do that, if you lead with the ask, it's a problem. It's a mindset level problem, and we
Yep.
can slice it and dice it, and I mean, of course, if you make 500 calls, three people are going to pick up and they'll say, okay, I'll talk to you. I mean, big deal.
Yep.
You
It's
can
funny. I look at my emails. I don't get one email a quarter that's relevant.
look at that.
Like I had somebody yesterday trying to sell me something for a piece of Salesforce technology.
Hmm.
Now everybody knows there's no way I would ever run Salesforce in my company, right? Not that I don't like Salesforce; like it's a great
Yeah.
company, but I think they're a wonderful company. But it's just not the right fit for me, right? I have
Hmm.
different data, different needs and I mean it's like I go, you didn't even check if I had Salesforce, like that's it's pretty easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's stuff like that's where we're I just you can always just pick up the phone and make more calls.
Yeah.
But man, those people who built those pyramids, man, when they were done, it wasn't, by the way, it wasn't it wasn't a lower class group of people that were building those
Yeah.
pyramids, right? It was a middle class, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what it was. And if you want to kind of get to that next level, you're going to have
Hmm.
to figure out a way to kind of compete on a different level here. And it's not going to be done with, writing better copy or it will be done. That'll be a small percentage of it, but it'll be done by your ability to collect data
Yeah.
and use it to get your message to the right people faster, better, all that. So that was
Yeah.
the whole message I wanted to project there. And it was just to show people how to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not about this. It's not about quantity anymore. I mean, the quantity game is actually now very inefficient,
Yep.
and you have to sort of do this, and use wherever you can have technology to actually get the relevance and not send out more irrelevant stuff, right?
Yep. What's fun is when I'll tell you what's truly fun, and this is like the moment that I had it. It's now where we're at. We're back to volume.
Hmm.
So our stuff now is we're actually so we took a step back, right? We said, how do we make everything more relevant? And of course, we learned APIs, we learned Zapier, we learned all of this stuff, and I mean, Integromat, Make, and all that. But it really came down to we had to build the process without the tools. Then when we started to use the tools, it didn't matter which tool we were using. And humans are tool builders. We're all we're all tool builders. Everybody is, and you really got to be thinking about that, right? And
Yeah.
that's what we do. So, by the way, I
Extremely
already
simple.
got a couple of messages from. I got the doctor here messaging me. Really like the presentation, but there's been a couple of people already messaged me. So that's good stuff. Good. You must have set that up, man. That's nice of you to do that for me.
No,
I'll
no, no. I
also be
think that,
emailing you this list, so you'll have the
yeah,
data yourself, and you'll be able to call these
sure,
people as
sure.
well. That was the point of it.
That will be very useful. That will be very useful, and motivating for me to actually get really started on this path, because I think, yeah, it's relevant for everybody. What you just did, I think that's the beauty, and even if they look at it 5 days down the line, they will know that this is possible, and I will
Yep.
circle back to you on doing a really long workshop. I don't know what are the logistics of that and what it takes, but I really think it would be very, very useful for folks. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
uh,
definitely. And
Jesse, thank
this
you so
video, I
much.
want to get this out to my team or my
Yeah,
groups too. And
yeah.
we're always looking for this content, so I'd love to get this out to my newsletter and everything. And I love everything you're doing over there at PitchLink.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Thanks. So I'll switch to my session. I
Perfect.
think I think that this now that this is, you have also made my life very difficult right now. Tough act to follow, because I'm doing a traditional stuff, right? In terms of, I mean, in terms of what I'm demonstrating, I'm not demonstrating anything. I'm still sharing GAN, as they say. Okay. Um, so yeah, great. Talking quickly about myself, I'm the founder of PitchLink. I'm basically a value transaction enthusiast. I mean, that's a fancy way of saying that I believe a sale is a two-way process, and that any discussion that does not bring the buyer in is likely to fail or give very low returns. I mean, it's sort of the crux of what me and Jesse was talking about, but I'm coming at it from the other side. I have built digital products in the past. I hold 3 US patents for my work earlier. I also host a bunch of podcasts. So that's me. Let's get started with my session. Uh, I'll share my screen. Yeah, I hope you can see it. I'll go back to the first slide and then I'll switch back. So this is my first slide, and I showed you guys how to join. None of you took the opportunity, but thanks for coming anyway. Um, this is what I want to talk about. A lot of discussion happens in the sales sphere about closing, and I think that, and which is why we are doing this series to start with. I don't think closing is the problem. Starting is, and part of what Jesse just showed is how to get started. The relevance bit is absolutely key. It doesn't matter the process. So it doesn't matter whether you're writing a mail or making a call. If you don't have relevant information to share, there is no way to move this forward, because buyers are not looking out. People are not hanging around places trying to make friends. There is no social engagement. They don't want to do social engagement, and that's pretty clear. And in terms of data, I mean, again, Gartner data, very well known. They defined a buyer's journey. It is not a linear IDA kind of path. It is a back and forth, what they call a spaghetti bowl kind of movement. And the vendor, if you are reading folks like Sharon Drew Morgan, she talks about 13-step process. The vendor comes in the 10th step. Lots happen inside the buyer's organization before they start talking to a vendor. And when with the vendors, typically in a B2B scenario, buyers are spending 17% of the time, and that 17% of the time for any buying cycle, 17% of the time is divided between 4, 5, 6 vendors, which means you get 2% of the time. So if you're not bringing your A game in terms of having relevance and offering value, conversation is not going to happen. Closing comes much later. Closing is actually very easy because by that time you know everything. The client has told you the problem, you have gone through the multiple stakeholders, you have had multiple meetings, you have information, you have data, you are possibly talking about, I don't know, deliverability, you're talking of implementation, you're talking of price. That's easy because it is being built on top of knowledge which has been shared. To get there is the problem. Quickly, I'll touch upon LinkedIn a bit. I was touching upon this idea of mindset. Uh, Jesse spoke about how he got one relevant mail in 3 months. I don't know what you guys see, but most of the mails that come to us are irrelevant. And when I say most, I would say, I don't know, 99.5%. I'll be generous. That's the problem. The other problem is wherever we are reaching out to people today. If we talk about LinkedIn started off as a hiring platform. People put up their resumes. This I'm talking of early days, 2008, and around that. Everybody was trying to make a profile so that people can hire. That was the purpose. What LinkedIn figured is that in that kind of a model, engagement is not going to happen. People come back after 2 years or 3 years when they want to find a new job. So nothing much was happening. So they introduced a influencer program, and they roped in people like Richard Branson and Ariana Huffington, Bill Gates, and they started posting in LinkedIn, which sort of triggered people to come back more often, because then they started mailing to all the people who have profiles that, oh, there is a new post by Richard Branson or by Bill Gates and so on. And once that traffic started building, they introduced, I don't know how many of you remember, they introduced something called LinkedIn Pulse. They even had a separate app for that, for everybody to start posting. Now, I ran a poll a few weeks back asking people 3 questions. Why did you join LinkedIn? So, to sell, to be sold to, and to network with peers. And obviously, as you would expect, around 80% people said they joined to network with peers. Now, why I'm mentioning this is because where you actually try to deliver the value becomes very, very critical. If you are trying to sell me a software when I'm in the watching a baseball game or a football game or a cricket game, it's not going to work because I'm not there to sort of focus on buying ERP. You know what I mean? So we have to figure out a way to engage so that people can engage with us and buy from us when they have the mind space. Now, it might sound like a difficult thing to do. Today, we have, what is our option to sell? We can go to their office, we can send them mails, and we can possibly talk to them in LinkedIn, or we can talk to them in events, whether virtual or real, where we have physical access, right? These are the options that we have. If we can give them the choice, if we can give them the choice and allow them to tell, okay, I will talk to you at this point, at this place, at this time, on this channel. If we can do that, just think about it. The conversations will be far more involved. And that's what we need. Forcing a conversation, being very clever, telling something very clever is not going to help. You have to bring in relevance. I completely agree with Jesse, what he said. And today you are in a position to use technology to have relevant data. But the next step to that is give them the space and time, the ability to choose, so that you are engaging with them when they want. And when they want, it's very easy to to get what we want. We want a meeting. We want information. We want to understand whether they have the pain. When they want to share, it's much simpler than when you have to sort of, pry open their mouth and pull out their teeth. Right? Yeah. So, we just to close up this session, we need to provide a safe haven to the buyer to consider your value prop against that of your competitors. We are working on a work in progress framework, which I'll show you just now. We call it 3S square. And this is what it looks like. You search and share. I'll go into the details. So first step is you search and share. So what Jesse did was you searched. That's part of the first step. And then you share. So that's whichever way you are going to deliver. You can use a mail, you can use LinkedIn, you can use something like PitchLink, doesn't matter. You share. That's the first step. Relevance, information, data that is relevant, you search and you share. The second is you seek information. Not a meeting, seek information. Because if he's not giving you information, no matter how many times he meets, nothing is going to happen. Seek information and provide support. So these are not necessarily aligned. It's not like step to step. Support for the internal change management. If you have got information which gives you enough knowledge about what's going on inside the organization, why they're looking at a product like this at all, the relevance has to be now validated at this stage through information. So the relevance that I found through the search, I shared. And that is facilitating sharing of information. Unless a prospect shares what we call inside information, I have a pain here, not where you are thinking, but here. Till that happens, it's not going to move forward because you will be treating a different pain, thinking that that's the pain. So internal validation is important. And that person or that group of people have to take many other people from inside the organization along the journey. So we have to help them, support them to do that. And lastly, we have to co-design a solution. So I basically went through this. You have to resolve, co-solve, and co-engineer a solution. It has to be done together. It is not just, okay, this is it, take it, and it will solve all your problems. No. The buy-in has to happen, if nothing else. That yes, this will solve. Or we'll be missing out on vital pieces, which will finally, even if we do the sale, will finally fail to deliver. And instead of having a great referral customer, we'll have a dissatisfied customer, which is something you don't want. And then we ensure delivery. You will say it's part of customer success. A big part of the discussion that is going on in the sales space is whether these silos of marketing, sales, customer success actually make any sense. Or should it be teams with experts from all of them operating together? But that's a different webinar. That's a different discussion. Happy to do it another day. But the point is, as a salesperson, if you do not ensure that proper delivery of what you sold has happened, again, unhappy customer. That's one thing you don't want. It's better to have no customer than an unhappy customer. Well, that's it from me. These are the contact details of Jesse and myself. Feel free to reach out. The best way, of course, for both of us is to connect on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions on what I just shared, feel free to ask. And thank you very much for joining and staying with us throughout. Thanks, guys. Thanks for appreciating. Anybody would want to come in and share? Any one of you, Julio, Hamsavardhan, Tom, any one of you come on stage and share about what you are doing and what's working for you? Just raise your hand and I'll get you in. I think you need to use that mic at the bottom left corner. Yeah. Yeah, there he is.
How you doing?
Hey, Tom. Oh,
Great session.
good to see you.
How are you doing?
Good, wonderful. Good to see you, and I hope you enjoyed.
Yes. I did. I couldn't. You guys were on a roll there. I couldn't really add to what you were. You speak my mind. We're seemingly kindred spirits, and Jesse's probably seems like the same. So it's all good. No, I was. You and I are the whole goal of why we talk is we really want to help this whole enable the journey of buyers and sellers to actually enable them to better interact sooner, better, more effective. And we just, but you guys were all talking about, you were talking about that, throughout this thing. And I love the process that Jesse has there. We have processes, but they're not overly efficient and they're not powerful, and the amount of messaging that can go on through that without being wasteful. I mean, somebody made the comment is like, you get email or LinkedIn messages or emails every day about, can I talk to you about your lead generation? It's like, no, you've given me no freaking reason to do that. So no. And I actually used to reply to them and say, what makes you different? And never got a response.
Absolutely.
Give me a video, give me something that says why I should spend another minute talking to you. And I was wasting that minute or two replying to them to just challenge them, because I'm a good sales manager type sales guy. Like, I understand being on the other side, but when they don't even respond, it's like, wait a second, you are definitely part of the problem here.
Yeah, absolutely. Or they are not. See, one of the things that people don't talk about enough is that whether the leadership is taking enough pains to train people when they're putting them on the job, right? So and I'm not talking classically or train them on medic or train them on spin, just the basics. We
Are you on Salesforce? That was a classic. It's like, first ask, because if you're not on Salesforce, you're months away from ever being able to use me. So
Yeah, it's a big problem, right? So what, Tom, before I let you go, what do you see is working today in terms of beginning conversations? What to your mind is working?
That's a tough question, because the gig that I was just working with, it's amazing. These guys were not, the rest of the management team weren't sales and marketing people at all. They hired me and wanted me to do stuff that was because of my expertise. And like, I presented PitchLink to them and at least showed it to them. I didn't even say like, yeah, we should use it, but here's an example of some good sort of process that we could put in place. And it was, it was like, oh, we'll maybe do that later, like 6 months or a year from now. And that's constantly been the challenge with small companies that I've worked with under 50 employees. It's like, it's we don't have the resources. Well, to put a video together, to put a chain message like the PitchLink together, that's not costing thousands of dollars. That's a little bit of time, paying for again, to be able to plug it into Jesse's stuff, to be able to do that stuff. Wow, the power of that is just there. So I really have been frustrated trying to get organizations to buy into process that is simple and straightforward, but the drip marketing, the drip messaging is so key, because we know that everybody doesn't want to speak to a sales rep until they've earned the right or that they're ready or whatever. It's 70%. Well, if we could get them, and we've talked about this before, if we could get those people that are starting to look at 60% level to start learning, maybe anonymously, whatever, to be able to say, okay, and then you are the thought leader, and that's what we're all working on here and on this interface, anyways.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to lead with value. You have to stop being, oh, we'll not share, we'll not give. Till you give, we will not give. I mean, they don't care. There are 100 other people out there. I mean, none of us are selling, moon dust. You know what I mean?
That's right. You got to earn the right to be credible and that thought leader. I mean, these type of situations like we're doing right now, just help. I mean, they're not the final frontier. I mean, anyone watching this is going to say, "Hey, I love Tom." That's not there. But you're starting that journey of trust and leadership, thought leadership that you can know to come to me. At least one of those people that you could start a conversation with and not feel they're going to ram a product down your throat, sort of thing.
Exactly. You have to provide that space. Absolutely. Great, Tom. Thank you so much. I appreciate your taking the time. Good to see you too, and we'll catch up.
Thank you,
guys. Julio, Hamsa Vardhana, any one of you interested to come on? Let me know. I'll wait for like 30 seconds, and then I think I will hang up because we've run out of time. While you guys are thinking, I must put it on record. I know Jesse left because he had to leave. He had told me that he may have to leave on the top of the hour, which he did. I want to thank Jesse. I mean, really, for sharing his idea and actually telling that I'm actually going to demonstrate and not do this PowerPoint thing. I want to show actually what can be done. And he did that very effectively without really any preparation of any kind of prompting from my side in terms of what PitchLink is and what it could do. We intend to do 2 such every month. So we started in February. This was the second one of April. The next session is on 10th of May. We have Michael Leiben, the founder of Cold IQ. Again, you can follow us. You will see. We'll possibly send out a mail to all of you who registered. So basically, what we are doing is, if you have registered for any of the sessions, we keep informing you. You can of course unsubscribe and get out of it, but we try to keep people informed because I know, I mean, you guys are busy, so you don't have to necessarily come back and re-register. If you have done it once, you should be okay. And thank you very much. I wish all of you valuable conversations with your prospects. Let's lead with value, and I think the rest will fall into place. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.